Hello and welcome everyone to a guide to Imaginarium Theater, the new endgame mode that has just been added. So yeah, in this video you're gonna find out everything that you need to know. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So the first thing you wanna do is unlock the new endgame, right? So in order to do that, you wanna go to the Monstrat to this waypoint over here. Right, this is the one on top of the Knights of Favonius headquarters. Then just go down here, go inside of the building and go towards the library. So when you're inside of the building, you just go first door to the right, open the door, jump down here and you have the entrance to the new endgame right here behind this door. You will have to go for a pretty annoying cutscene here, and after 5 minutes finally done talking, you actually get to play the game. So in order to play this in endgame mode, you have to go to this table and interact with this book. And I guess before we go any further, I'm quickly gonna move over to my main account where I already cleared this. So let me quickly show you what's going on this screen. So first thing, you have supporting cast. It is not going to be that relevant. Essentially here you can like choose characters which you will allow your friends from your friend list to land. So it doesn't matter particularly very much. Then you have past performances, which is, you know, it is what it says. I already managed to clear this once. It took me quite a while, but I'm gonna get to this in a second. Performance preparation. This is essentially where you actually get to play the mode. So as you can see, there are 3 difficulties. Now the biggest difference between those difficulties is that you need different amounts of characters. As you can see, this one needs 10, this one 14, and this one 18. And this is going to be the toughest part, actually having enough characters to clear this. But don't worry, for the easy mode, you can go to the part setup and you have a bunch of characters which you can use as trial characters. So as you can see, there's 6 characters out of 10, so we already have that. Now here's the second screen. After you chose 6 of those characters, trial characters, right? If you struggle with characters, you will have to take those. You can invite support cast. Right, so I'm just gonna select Kazuka here, and unfortunately you can only select one of those characters from the support list, if I understand it correctly. So essentially the bare minimum of characters that you need to clear is 10, but you get 6 for free, so at least that's that. And then you can just select anyone who's like even not leveled, and then you still should be fine. You have to use 4 characters on each chamber of this, or rather on each stage. There were chambers which I was clearing with just like 2-3 characters, like the last chamber I cleared, I used only 2 characters pretty much, and then 2 like just fillers. So yeah, compared easy to hard mode, as you can see, the only relevant difference is the amount of characters you need and the level of characters you need to use, which is only 70. This isn't very high, so yeah, so that's that. So yeah, once again, we're gonna choose the trial characters, and then here, as you can see, you have to use way more characters. You have to use 12 additional characters, which is quite a lot. I mean, I guess only 11 if you use the support one, but yeah, you know what I mean. So the next thing I would want to talk about is the elemental coverage of each Imaginarium Theater stage. As you guys may or may not know, Imaginarium Theater will reset every 4 weeks. It will rotate every 2 weeks with the Abyss, so it's gonna be Abyss, then 2 weeks later this new mode, then Abyss, then again the Theater. And each of those like theater rotations will require you to use different elements of characters. This one forces you to use Pyro, Anemo, and Electro characters, which means that you can only really use those. And then you have special guest stars, which is essentially like 4 characters in this rotation. Maybe it's going to be more in the future ones, but in this one in particular, you can only really use 4 characters, which are of a different element than Anemo, Electro, or Pyro. And you have to own those characters, right? As you can see, I don't own those 3 characters, which is very unfortunate for me because I like have almost every character in the game and I don't specifically have 3 out of those, which is fairly unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now there's one more difference which I haven't talked about in terms of those like 3 difficulty modes. And as you can see, this is with each mode, the harder it gets, the longer the run will be. As you can see, the hardest one, you have to complete 8 stages of combat, but the easiest one only 3. And if I understand it correctly, for each stage you clear, you get the next stage of the rewards. So if you clear the easiest difficulty, you will only get the first 3. Then if you clear the normal difficulty, it is I think the next 3, and then for the hardest one, it is only going to be 180. Now that rewards actually adds up to a bunch of different stages, and some of those stages are actually fairly easy. So you might not even have, you know, 18 leveled up characters, or I guess 11 with like all of those like trial characters and stuff, but like you might just take all of those trial characters, you have 7 of them, you might have like 3 characters leveled, you have 10 out of 18, and then you might be able to still like kind of like push some of those stages and get some of the rewards. Okay, so since we are on the topic of the rewards, I guess let's finish talking about them. As you can see, those rewards will reset every 30 days, and you can get up to 620 gems every 4 weeks from this. And those are the refreshable rewards. And then there are also the ones that you can claim only once. For clearing all of those 8 stages, you get all of those gems. This is, I believe, 1100 gems. So yeah, that's the rewards. And I guess one more thing worth mentioning here is those toy medals. With those medals, you can actually purchase, where is it? You can talk to Wolfie right here, and then you can claim, or rather buy, those things, those like poses for like when you're taking photo of the characters. I kind of wish they would just add emotes to Genshin, because like this would be so sick, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Some of those are fairly boring. This one looks amazing, it looks sick. I'm definitely unlocking this one. I will never use it, but now I have it, so yeah, that's cool. And I guess let's buy the one for Oppa, because it's Oppa. Now, one more thing that I probably should have mentioned is the cards which you can use. I guess I just select the easy mode. Let's use only the trial characters. And then we're gonna use some like support character from someone, let's say Shangling. And then I'm just gonna literally just run like, I mean, I don't know, let's run them. And as you can see, there are cards which you can choose from. In order to buy those cards, you have to like spend all of that Fantasia flowers. You get cards, you get different kind of stuff. For doing battles, you get plus 80 or just get additional flowers. And then you can spend those flowers on the other cards. So there's a companion card which allows you to choose an additional character. Now here I just got a free card, so I guess let's take a look at it. May select one of 2 mystery caches. Confirm selection. And here you can actually claim those cards. I managed to do my previous clear without any cards, actually. Yeah, I forgot to turn on the light back. Yeah, so the previous run I did was actually without any of those cards. Reset selectable effects. I don't know what that is. Let's just take this one. Yeah, so I just got 2 in the row. And then what's the important part here is the buying characters. So you have like companion select. I think this is the most important part of this like entire thing. You can just like spend all of this like Fantasia flowers to get new characters from like the pull list. Right, so I just chose it, and then I can select one of the characters which I chose before. I think it is very important to like spam this card and get as many characters as you can, because then later you can actually like struggle with clears, like I did, for instance. For like an hour I tried clearing this mode because I got stuck on like stage 7 and 8 with shitty characters. So yeah, I guess we can quickly do a run of this like normal mode, so you guys can just like see what's going on here. So yeah, let's just confirm the selection. And then you're gonna go get teleported to this room with Traveler. Yeah, you go to this key and then you have to like make a team. You can see here what enemies we're gonna be fighting. There's also the Vigor, which is the yellow thing below the characters. This is essentially so you can only use one character 2 times. Some of the cards allow you to restore the Vigor, but the cards are random, so you can't really guarantee like any specific characters. Since this is only the normal mode, we're gonna like go with just like anything, honestly, because I'm not gonna run out of our characters very easily, and the difficulty isn't too hard either. So we have to wait until the animation ends here. I don't know how many backgrounds there is. I've seen at least 2 different ones. So yeah, and then you just have to fight the enemies. On the normal difficulty, they're actually very squishy. When I was doing the hardest difficulty, I actually struggled a bit. At some point I thought I'm not gonna have enough time, even on like one of the first stages where I used Wanderer, like the trial one. The enemies weren't as squishy as this. Like I literally just like one-shot them with Balance Burst, with just the hit of the initial hit of the Balance Burst. As you can see, I didn't meet one of the conditions, which was trigger swirl 15 times. You don't have to do this. This doesn't affect your stars. This just gives you a bit more of this. The only thing that gives you the star is the completing of the last line here, which is defeat all opponents within 90 seconds and you get the star. Now to kind of sum it up, let's talk about how good or bad is this mode. And to be honest, as you can see, I managed to clear this. It took me a long time. It took me over an hour to clear this. The reason it took so long is because you actually have to be very careful about what characters you choose. I think healers in this mode aren't very valuable. You probably shouldn't take more than like 1, 2, maybe 3. For instance, when I was on the last stage of this, stage 8, it took me like 20-25 minutes to clear this. I had to use Alhaitham, Raiden, Chevrus, and Sayu, and like I didn't really need Sayu here. I could have used anyone else, like any kind of DPS. I could have used Yae, for instance, instead. And if I actually did use her, I probably wouldn't have spent like 20 minutes trying to clear the last stage. I would have cleared it like almost immediately. Now with that said, even though I had to actually spend a while trying to clear this content, it was very fun and I actually like it a lot. I know that probably majority of the player base won't like this content because you actually have to like kind of try hard a bit unless you have like whale characters, but even then you won't have that many whale characters. It's kind of designed in a way that like you can't have just like one whale characters and kind of like abuse everything, because you get characters randomly during playing this mode. As for the rewards, I think they're somewhat similarly accessible for like players compared to like the rewards from the Abyss. In the Abyss you have like the floor 9 and 10, which are fairly easy to complete. Like you can probably within a month after you start playing clear this. And then the floor 11 and 12, which are significantly harder. With this you have the normal mode, which like pretty much any player can just like like go in and probably like just clear this with just trial characters. Like I really don't know what's like, this is very accessible and you can just like every once in a while claim like 183 gems in Abyss is going to be like for the first 2 stages, so that's gonna be like 300. So I guess you're gonna get more there, but in the Abyss you won't have the trial characters. And yeah, so if I were to like rate how good this mode is, I would give it like 6 out of 10. And the reason why is because I personally have a lot of fun with this. For me, this mode would be like 9 out of 10, maybe even like 9.5, maybe even 10 out of 10, because it's actually very fun. I have a lot of fun with this, but I am aware if someone has not been playing for like 3 years and doesn't have like almost all of the higher characters in the game, they just won't be able to like approach this mode at all. They will just struggle even more than with the Abyss, because with the Abyss you can get like Nevelet, Nahida, Raiden, Frina, all of those like top tier meta characters, and then you can just clear this. And then with this, you actually have to have like significantly more characters. I guess they don't have to be like that well built, that strong, but you will need some strong characters for the bosses at least. So I guess it could have been better, but like could have been worse. I'm glad we finally got something. In the end, this is supposed to be an endgame mode, which is like an endgame mode is supposed to be content for endgame players, not for like the players who just started playing, right? You have to kind of like play for a while until you actually clear this. Like, you know, everyone before they started clearing the Abyss, they actually played for a while, right? I cleared my first Abyss after like 5 or 6 months of playing, and so no, not everyone will just like clear this immediately. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I will probably upload my first run which I had of this mode. So if you want some tips on how to like clear the actual stages, you can subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.